What happened to Tom Welling after Smallville ended? Why hasn't he been in any major TV or film roles since? And is there any chance that he'll make a comeback? Hi, I'm Dylan. Let's find out why Tom Welling went under the radar after his iconic role. A long hiatus followed Smallville's end. For Welling, the role of Clark Kent was more than just a full-time job. At 23, he came to Los Angeles, where he did commercials and modeling. He didn't like it much though, because he didn't get to express himself. Tom found acting much more fulfilling, so he decided to try to pursue it. In 2000, he appeared in a music video, and then he got his first major acting role on the legal drama Judging Amy. Welling's performance received enthusiastic fan reviews, and soon after, Tom was cast in the role of his life on Smallville. The actor told TV Guide at the time that he turned it down twice. He understood that the lead role would come at a price, but he still wasn't prepared for the reality of it. It meant that Tom had to go to Vancouver, where the series was filmed, while his family and friends remained in America. "I spent 10 years where my life was 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. on set," he told BuzzFeed. "From an emotional standpoint, I was basically cut off from everyone." The young star felt isolated and lonely, so when his 10-year run on Smallville ended, Tom needed to reconnect with his life and took some well-deserved time off. The actor told BuzzFeed, "I needed a break. I needed to figure out what was going on in my head a little bit."
Not that being on Smallville was prison, but in a way, it's you're there and right. your environment's very controlled and dictated towards you. And now that you're sort of being able to make a lot of your own choices, it's a strange new adjustment.
Initially, Tom Welling's post-Smallville hiatus was only supposed to last for a few months, but his next TV role took 6 years to come, and there were several reasons for this. His lack of acting experience. While millions of fans consider Tom Welling to be the greatest Superman of all time, some say that Smallville's success wasn't due to the cast. They think Tom just suited the showrunner's vision in terms of physical appearance, but his acting ability was limited. Well, it's definitely true that before being cast as Clark Kent, Tom had only one role, a 6-episode arc on Judging Amy.
I played her 20 years younger boyfriend.
Oh.
Yeah, I played Karate Rob. It was a lot of this, huh?
And while on Smallville, Welling had very little time to explore other projects. He only appeared in the ill-received supernatural horror film The Fog and family comedies Cheaper by the Dozen 1 and 2. Moreover, after all the time spent on set in Vancouver, Tom decided he didn't want to do another TV show for a while. "The idea of television meant 10 years away from my family, from my friends, and I didn't want that lifestyle anymore," explained the actor. This decision meant that Welling turned down several potentially popular roles after Smallville. Movies, which take less time to film, were more aligned to what he was looking for. But it wasn't easy to find films he wanted to be a part of. Being super picky didn't pay off. When Tom Welling finally felt ready to get back into acting, he decided to be more selective about his roles. "I wanted to play a human, and I wanted to be a part of a film whose theme was bigger than whatever character I was playing," he shared. Financially speaking, Smallville afforded Welling the ability to be choosy and take part in passion projects. As a result, he's only appeared in 3 films since the show's finale in 2011. The historical drama Parkland, a sports drama Draft Day, and The Choice, adapted from a romantic novel by Nicholas Sparks. All 3 movies had a strong cast, including actors like Kevin Costner, Billy Bob Thornton, and Jennifer Garner. And it's safe to assume that Tom wanted to stretch himself as an actor, as all 3 roles were vastly different: a Secret Service agent, a washed-up quarterback, and a doctor. Unfortunately, none of the films made much of an impact on audiences or critics and didn't do well at the box office. But it's also possible that Tom Welling became more focused on pursuing other opportunities behind the camera. Being an actor wasn't enough. Welling had been making a move towards more behind-the-scenes work while still playing Clark Kent. He launched Tom Welling Productions towards the end of Smallville's run. "I grew up unknowingly looking at guys like Robert Redford and Warren Beatty, guys who created opportunities for themselves as soon as they could," he explained. Tom directed one Smallville episode a year from 2006 and eventually added an executive producer title in its later seasons. He also served as an executive producer on the cheerleader dramedy Hellcats.
The 9 seasons I've spent on Smallville, on set and being a part of production and directing as well, I hope to take that experience and apply it here.
The show joined a CW lineup that included Gossip Girl and 90210, but it was canceled after 1 season in 2011. 6 years later, Welling shared that Hellcats might be revived soon. It never happened though, and it wasn't the only time a Tom Welling project ended up not working out, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. His TV comeback was short-lived. Tom's hiatus from TV shows ended up spanning an entire 6 years. Eventually, he slowly started getting passionate about returning to work. After all, not every show lasts a decade. He took on another series regular role in 2017, and his comeback was epic, as he joined the cast of Lucifer. It wasn't so much returning to TV, what it was is being part of this show itself, Welling says of what drew him back. One of the reasons why Tom became interested in this project was because the shooting took place in LA, where he resides. So he could feel both a part of the show and a part of his own life. Welling played Lieutenant Marcus Pierce, aka Kane, in the 3rd season of Lucifer. And although for Tom the show was a return to DC Comics, it was obviously a far cry from playing young Superman. Actually, another reason that drew him to the role of Kane was the opportunity to move in a very different direction.
What's exciting to me about this show is, it's a different tone for me to play.
But fans still loved him more as Clark Kent, so they were super excited when Welling reprised his career-defining role in the Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event. However, Welling indicated that it would really be his last appearance. He had put Clark Kent behind him. Welling's passion project failed to launch. When Tom finally decided that he was ready to return to TV, he wanted to find a project that would allow him to fulfill his on-screen and behind-the-camera goals. And he found it with Section 13, the series that was set to follow a CIA Black Ops officer who becomes a private contractor in a covert organization devoted to carrying out the most difficult and dangerous high-stakes assignments. Welling was supposed to be executive producer and star in the series if CBS gave the green light to the pilot. Tom was genuinely nervous about the project. Emotionally, I can't even think what I'm going to do if Section 13 doesn't go, he revealed, but I also can't even think about what I'm going to do if it goes. So it was a huge blow for Welling when the pilot was not ordered to series. But it seems that 43-year-old Tom does not give up easily. Amazingly, he secretly filmed a new show called Professionals. Will Tom Welling return to the small screen? Quite recently, the actor spoke with Showbiz Cheat Sheet about his new show, for which post-production was completed earlier this year. In Professionals, Welling plays Vincent Corbo, the head of a security firm, who is hired by an aerospace magnate when someone sabotages a space launch.
I'm putting together a new security team. I'm looking for the most badass operators out there. Until I find them, I'll take you guys.
The role gave Tom a chance to show a new side of himself. Even my wife says that I look different, he shared. I think that's a compliment. It's a lot of fun in a different environment, a little more grown up with just great people around me. Welling explained that filming a 10-episode series felt like shooting a big movie, just separated shooting schedule-wise. By the way, in the show he plays alongside Brendan Fraser, who was one of the most popular Hollywood heartthrobs of the 1990s.
Peter Swan.
Seems like a reunion of actors who were hugely famous but later faded from the spotlight. So, when do we get to see this new action-packed series? It was tailor-made for the worldwide marketplace and has already been sold in Germany, but no series premiere date has been announced yet. Hopefully Tom Welling will be back on our screen soon, and we'll see even more of him in the decade ahead. What kind of roles do you prefer him in? Share your thoughts in the comments, and as always, stay super awesome!